come, what I'd like you to do is stay here in the Tesla.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
This was me a month ago, back in my hometown of Silver Spring, Maryland, working as an intern web developer by day and a cashier at night. A life of repetition, every day blending into the next. It wasn't always like this, though. I dropped out of college around this time last year and moved to Miami, ready to put in the work doing YouTube full-time. I wanted to accomplish two things: leave a positive impact on people's lives and create content I would be proud of. As you can see, it didn't work out the way I planned. Although it was great at first, I eventually had to come to terms with the fact that I wasn't accomplishing either of my goals. So after a couple of months in Florida, I decided to move back home. And so for the last couple of months, I've been here, constantly dealing with pressure from friends and family to just go back to school, to cut my losses because there was still hope for me, or to find a sustainable job to secure my future. Under normal circumstances, this might be great advice, but I'm not looking for a life of comfort and convenience. My dream is to seek discomfort and live in pursuit of spreading love around the world. I sat around day after day wondering what I was waiting for and why I wasn't taking anyone's advice. Then one day, I found Lovetown, and from that point on, everything changed.
This is Emmanuel. He's a Lovetownie. He DM'd me on Instagram wanting to meet up, and we did meet up, but on the way, he ended up going on this wild adventure that was honestly more exciting than us hanging out. And well, I'll let him tell the story.
I ended up watching all of their videos that night. Then suddenly, I had only one mission: to meet them as soon as possible. Then lo and behold, a week later, they posted on their Instagram that they were coming to Roanoke, Virginia, which isn't too far from where I live. However, since I sold my car earlier in the year, getting to Roanoke wasn't going to be easy. So I began to wonder, what if I just hit them up and asked them for a ride? I thought it over for a bit and I figured, what's the worst that could happen? So I commented on their post, and then Rocket responded, and he said, no. Well, to be more precise, he said he wouldn't be able to pick me up, but he would buy me lunch if I could make it there. I found round-trip bus tickets online for $100, but they were a day apart, so I would need to find a place to sleep overnight as well. I DM'd Rocket and told him my situation, not knowing what he would say. Then to my surprise, he responded. He asked that I send him an email about my life, my joys, and my struggles, so he could learn a bit more about me. I wrote about my trip to Miami, and for my joys and struggles, I told him this. First and foremost, I love making people happy. Surprising my friends, making a stranger's day, and anything I can do to make someone's life better. I love connecting with new people. I'm the friend with the nothing to lose mentality, so I'm always down for an adventure, and I talk to strangers wherever I go. 9 times out of 10, it's a great experience. But as for my struggles, I dream big. I have grand plans to make the world a better place. However, when it comes to planning out the details, I fall apart. I said a quick prayer, and I hit send.
I don't expect that he actually thinks that I'm going to find him a place to stay. However, I will say that there's something about this guy that I just felt like it was really earnest, and I want to support that. And I want, like, right now our channel is small, and even in the future, like, whenever I can, we can have this human touch, and we can connect with people, and we can make an experience dope. Something can be dope, it should freaking be dope. So, here we go. I'm going to call this guy right now.
It's happening! Quiet on the set!
Bring it up. Oh, here you go. Emmanuel.
Yo!
What's up, dude? How are you?
What's up? I'm great. How are you?
Good. I read your whole email. I read it twice. You're a good writer.
Thank you.
How long did that take you to write?
Oh, like an hour.
You took some
There's a lot
time.
of editing.
Well, it paid off. It's very nice writing, and I felt like it reflected you very well. Like, I felt like it was a very honest voice that came through with that, so that was cool. Well, here's a question for you. Like, what are you expecting out of this conversation? Like, what do you think is why do you think I'm calling?
I have no idea. That's the great part.
Oh, okay.
I literally have no idea.
Well, the truth is that Lovetown's still pretty small, and we have a shitload of DMs, but it's small enough still that I can go through and answer everything. So it's I'm trying to be really diligent about that because it is about community. So the fact that you took the steps to follow through and DM and that initiative, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I noticed that. I would say that I like that when I was like, well, you want to take a bus to Roanoke? You actually went and fucking looked it up, and I was like, okay. Yeah. That's pretty cool. When you were like, do you know anywhere I can stay in Roanoke? And you're like, that kind of face. Do you think that I was actually gonna help you find a place? Or you just like asking?
I'd rather
I'll just send
leave it all out there. Whatever happens, happens.
You just like, I'm just gonna fucking send it. So I thought about this, cause like, basically what I wanted to do is like, I wanna invite you to come to Roanoke. If you have to get your tickets, but when you come, what I'd like you to do is stay here in the Tesla.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my god. Yes, hell yeah.
I got a really good vibe from you, and that's why I asked you to write that stuff, because I feel like it reflects a lot about who you are, and so I just wanted to get that sense. And then I'm like, you know what? Fuck yeah, I'm gonna roll the dice on this. I'll just invite you.
That's so sick, man.
All right, dude. Well, I'm excited to meet you.
Same here.
I guess you're a grown-ass man. You're 19, right? And you've already traveled, so your parents will be like, all right, have fun. Oh, what? They're gonna be like, what the fuck are you doing?
What's wrong with you?
All right, mate. Cool. We'll stay in touch. Send me that info. And we'll see you Sunday.
Awesome. See you then.
Peace and love, bro. Wow, how fun is that? This kid seems awesome.
This is the greatest day of my life.
People are going to invite us into their homes to shower, to eat, to visit, to whatever, right? Like, people are giving us that trust. So who are we to not extend that trust to others, right? With this kid, it's like, yeah, it is a risk to put him in the car here. But realistically, like, you just saw the guy. If you saw that person and you talked with that person like I did, would you be like, oh, this person's going to fuck me over?
But once I bought the tickets, it hit me. These guys have no idea who I am. Like, there's the whole aspect of me going to see strangers off the internet, but at the same time, it's gotta be weird for them to invite a stranger off the internet to come stay with them.
Personally, I feel like they have it a bit harder. My reason being, I know what I'm signing up for to some degree, because I've watched a bunch of their content. But the extent of their knowledge of me is me smiling like an idiot and nodding because I was so dumbfounded that I was on FaceTime with Rocket.
Then I begin to think. So I go and I meet these guys. But then what? I'm back in the same situation that I was in the first place. Sitting around at the convenience store for hours on end, then closing the store and doing it again, and again, and again. Predictable, easy, repetitive.
Then one night, I saw a comment on a Love Time vid, saying they had plans to collab with people in the future. I put two and two together and realized that if I can prove my worth to them, maybe they'd consider adding me to their crew for a bit. So with that in mind, I started writing a script about my trip to come meet them.
The day of reckoning arrived and it was time to go. I headed for Union Station right before sunset to get some footage while it was still light out. And while this seemed like a good idea at first, upon arriving to the station, I realized my bus wasn't leaving for 9 hours. Was that poor planning on my part? Maybe. Was there anything I could do about it? Nope. I figured I might as well make the most of it if I'm gonna be stuck here. So I began to skate around and explore.
After an hour, I found myself in a McDonald's line, talking to this huge 6'3" dude. When I asked him where he was coming from, he said this: "Oh, I was up in Pennsylvania and somebody was messing with my business, so I had to push him down a 200-foot mine shaft." I said, "That's a good one," and I laughed. He did not. "So, what kind of business do you run?" "Oh, me? I'm the 8th highest ranked drug dealer in Florida." And it all made sense now. I was dealing with a real Florida man. Florida man actually offered me some drugs, and I politely declined, but at this point I realized it was time to leave. An hour later, as I was skating around, I turned a corner, and I saw police officers surrounding someone on the floor. I looked to see who it was, and on the floor I found Florida man. They searched his bags, found the drugs, and carried him away. I had just witnessed the fall of a titan. His ranking definitely took a hit after that. Then around 11 p.m., I ran into a man named Cliff. Now Cliff was a bit older than me, so I was a bit on edge at first, because stranger danger. As I'm on my way to go sleep in a stranger's car. We talked for a bit, and when he asked me where I was heading, I told him that I was on my way to Roanoke to sleep in a dude's Tesla that I met off the internet. He laughed and asked me if I like Teslas, and I was like, hell yeah, I like Teslas, they're dope. He then said, I actually have a Tesla outside if you want to come and drive it. Nah, man, I'm good. I figured there was a white van outside with Tesla spray painted on the side, and I don't think I would be the one driving. I explained to him that I was so excited to meet these guys that I was spending the last of my money on this trip. He told me that he admired my passion and wanted to help me out. So if I wanted, I could take down his number and he would send me money if I was in a pinch when I got to Roanoke. At this point, I was like, that's super kind, but I can't accept that, because who offers a stranger money out of the kindness of their heart? Well, Mr. Beast and David Dobrik, I guess, but he was neither, so this had to be too good to be true, right? As I learned more about him, I began to understand that he was genuinely just a kind dude. In the most unlikely of places, I had managed to befriend someone almost 3 times my age. Since my bus was leaving soon, and I trusted him enough at this point, I offered to walk him to his car. And when we got outside, Right there in front of us, there was a Tesla Model 3. As he was getting in his car, he turned, looked at me and asked, "Are you sure you don't want to drive the Tesla?" And I was like, "Alright, I'll drive the Tesla." And I drove that Tesla. Never in a million years would I have envisioned my night ending like that. Before leaving, I asked him why he was being so kind. Cliff explained to me that he'd gotten to accomplish many of his dreams in life simply due to the kindness of others. As a result, he enjoyed paying it forward now that he was in a position where he was able to do so. I got on my bus exhausted, ready to get some rest. But 3 hours later, we stopped at a station in Richmond to transfer buses. Unfortunately, the next bus arrived in an hour, and I knew that if I fell asleep, I would definitely miss it. So as I sat there, half awake, waiting, I heard a voice. I knew that voice from somewhere. I looked around, and guess who I saw? Fucking Florida Man. I have never been more perplexed in my life. How did he get free from the police and make it to Richmond before me? So I did the natural thing. I went up to him and I asked, "Yo, what's up?" "What's up, bro?" How you doing?" "I'm chilling, you know what it is." At this point, I realized he was being way too casual for someone that just escaped the police. So I popped the question. "So, what happened at Union Station?" "Oh, that? Nah, I just told them who I was and they let me go." Okay. I went back to my seat in disbelief. I definitely did not fall asleep after that. Then my bus came, and I was finally on my way to Roanoke.
Yo.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Rocky bought me lunch, and we spent the first day exploring Roanoke. I got to sleep in the Tesla, and the next day before I had to hop on my bus home, I got to spend my last 2 hours with Danny and Rocky. As my time with them was coming to an end, I remembered that I had written a script about my adventure to come meet them. So I read it to them. And as I finished, I looked up to see Danny smiling and Rocket with a look of serious contemplation.
I was impressed by Emmanuel's initiative to not only take an overnight bus to meet us, but to also come prepared with a fully written script. And since my vision for Lovetown has always been to include many voices, I kind of thought that this would be a great opportunity to let him tell his story here on the channel.
We said our goodbyes, and as I sat on the bus, I began to reflect on the trip, and I asked myself if I got what I wanted out of it. Going into this trip, I had one rule set for myself, and that was to have no expectations whatsoever. This rule made my trip great from the start. Had I went on this trip expecting to be treated a certain way, or for the Lovetown crew to guarantee that I would get to work with him on this episode, I would be setting myself up for potential disappointment. Going on this trip, ready for anything and with an open mind, made the trip a success simply due to my time at Union Station. The friends I made and the fun I had during those grueling 9 hours was already a great adventure. And it dawned on me that the reason I wanted to go on this journey wasn't just to meet Lovetown, but to experience human connection with strangers, to go out of my way to make friends that I wouldn't meet during my normal life. I think it's safe to say, though, that I went to Roanoke as a stranger and a fan of Lovetown, but left as a friend.
If you'd stopped me a month ago and asked me how I thought 2020 would begin, I would have told you that I envisioned myself working at the store every day for at least the next 6 months. But after the Lovetown trip, everything began to fall into place so perfectly, and opportunities arose one after another. So the question now is, as the new year begins, what does the future hold for me? I'd love to work on more Lovetown videos with Rocket and take the time to become the realest, dopest version of myself. I want 2020 to be a year of travel, adventure, and new friends.
Alright guys, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this new format. Please let us know in the comments what you thought, how you feel. If you're looking for other ways to stay engaged, please follow us on the Instagram or join us on the Discord. That is it. Happy holidays. Keep shining, y'all, and we'll see you next week.